Continue to see these storms, everything they're doing disrupting the area, and we're seeing people wanting to go help here in the coastal bend of Florida right now, and future help coming this way. It's crazy. And you were saying at the beginning of the show, it's unbelievable what's on the radar.
Yeah, it's not something you want to see, you want to look at. It's destructive, it's powerful. Yeah, I think a lot of us think back to previous experiences. I met a friend on the plane when I was traveling recently whose parents lived in Rockport during Harvey, which was a Category 4 hurricane at landfall, which is what Milton is anticipated to be. She also worked in Baton Rouge when Katrina hit New Orleans at a hospital, and said that was a horrible experience. Not necessarily horrible, but just the amount of people coming in for care, and also just showing up for identification. Not a good scenario. And so Hurricane Milton, you've got to keep those emergency workers in mind. If you stay, you're putting them at risk as well. And hospitals in the area are going to likely be overwhelmed from people who decide to stay. So it's not a good scenario. It is a devastating, destructive looking storm. Just looking at it on the satellite imagery, Category 5 right now, we are starting to lose the eye wall, which likely means it's going through another one of those eye wall replacement cycles where it kind of strengthens or shrinks and then rebuilds. But additionally, on top of that, Milton is expected to run into some wind shear because we have a cold front up that direction. So it is still anticipated to be Category 4, right on the edge of Category 4, 130-mile-per-hour winds at Florida's West Gulf Coast area between Tampa and Fort Myers. Still destructive winds as it weakens across central Florida. Category 1 hurricane, 80-mile-per-hour winds on the East Coast side, which will create storm surge on the backside of Florida. So something to note, both of the highest impacts from storm surge will be on the north side of the storm. Additionally, this storm is anticipated to produce the most rainfall on the north side of the storm. So Tampa Bay to Daytona Beach, even up toward Jacksonville, could see 8 to 14 inches of just rainfall, causing inland flooding on top of the wind and the storm surge, which, by the way, the storm surge anywhere between Tampa Bay and Fort Myers could be 10 to 15 feet, which is devastating. High pressure is what's going to keep Texas nice and dry. We're still hot, but our humidity really going to be in check today because we've got a weak front moving through this morning. 71 degrees right now. You're not going to notice a big drop in temperatures, but what you are going to notice is this feels like temperature. Maybe staying in the 80s behind this cold front. This is the front that is anticipated to produce some shear for Milton. It's also what's allowing for a lot of the rain to set up on the northern side of the storm, and then it is going to help weaken it, unfortunately, as it moves into the Atlantic. Marine forecast. We are running 6-foot waves every 9 seconds from Milton, which is going to continue to increase our rip current risk locally. So now through Friday, we are anticipating minor coastal flooding and that rip current risk. 7-day forecast, lots of sunshine. It's really only the beach that's going to have any weather impact issues. 90s on the board, but maybe a little bit cooler, high temperature in the 80s as we head into next week. Sean Thomas.